One thing I've always found is it doesn't matter how tired I am in the mornings when I go out to the kennels or even upset over something, you open that door up and they all get up and they're wagging their tails and happy, and it puts a smile on my face every morning, and I know that what I'm doing is I should be doing it, and I can't see myself doing anything else now. The dogs, they just melt my heart when I see them. My name is Danielle Smith. I'm 37 years old. When I was 15, maybe 16, I was at school still and looking for a part-time job. There was an advert in the newspaper for a kennel hand. I applied for that, rocked up and realised it was working with greyhounds. I didn't even know. Turned out to be with John McInerney, who's a trainer in Christchurch, New Zealand. I worked there for about a year. I finished up school, finished up with John McInerney and went to university. Did a Bachelor of Science majoring in animal science. About halfway through university, an opportunity came up to work with Ray Adcock. He was in the Hall of Fame in New Zealand. A lot smaller operation than John McInerney, so McInerney had hundreds of greyhounds there, and whereas Ray only had about 20 or 30 dogs. I stayed at Ray's for about a year, finished up university and then moved to Australia. It was never really the plan to move here. I had been here a few times on holidays and always thought it would be a nice place to live. Where I'm from, Christchurch, unfortunately a couple of really large earthquakes happened there, and after the second one there was hundreds of aftershocks every day. It became really, really stressful living with those. Just every time you hear a noise you'd be on edge, and so I thought I'm going to leave New Zealand, go to Australia. And I thought Melbourne was a good place to start. It's still close to home, 3-4 hour flight. So yeah, moved to Melbourne. No plans to work with greyhounds when I came over. I just thought I'll just move and I'll work it out when I get there. I started up my own retail store, a pet store, and I ran that for 9 years. Where I was living was at the time was Werribee, so I was looking at 2 hours each way for 9 years in traffic. I sold the shop and I thought to myself, I'll take a year off. I'd been so busy, so yeah, I thought that would be a good idea, maybe do some travelling. But one of the bitches came on season. And I thought, well, okay, fair enough, we'll roll with that. And I did a little bit of research about who I wanted to use, and that so happened to be My Redeemer. So I got in contact with Dave Gill about the straw. At the very end of the conversation, I just threw it in there. Hey, you don't have any jobs going, do you, with the greyhounds? And a week later, I was working with Dave and Rose. So yeah, the greyhounds, they keep dragging me back in one way or another. Worked there for 2 or 3 years, but I was very lucky to work there whilst they had a few big champions running. One of them being Melbourne Cup winner Koblenz. So I was lucky enough to work with Koblenz and work him in the working runs and get to know that dog, and he was awesome, such a great dog. And I got to go to the Melbourne Cup and stand up there when he won the Melbourne Cup, so that was really nice. Uphill Jill was there and I got to know her too and run her in the runs. She's very famous, I reckon. Another one who got runner-up in one of the Melbourne Cups, Fernando Mick Copper was his name. He won the Australian Cup as well, so I was at the Australian Cup and the Melbourne Cup watching him too. So yeah, all very exciting group races, group dogs whilst I was there. So another one, Ferdinand Boy, they called him the Country Cup's King. He was an amazing dog, white and brindle dog, Lightning. So yeah, lots of really good dogs were running whilst I was there. So that certainly, I think, piqued my interest in terms of looking to be a trainer myself. I was like, this is so amazing, like, you know, not just the money side of things or anything like that. It was just, you see these dogs in their home environment and then you get to see them out on the track, and just the excitement and the joy, and they weren't even my dogs, and you're just like, wow, that's so amazing, like, good on you. At that time, my litters that I had bred were on the ground, and I was like, you know, maybe I give it a go, and I trained my own greyhounds. So that's what I did. I stepped away from Dave's. I'm still in contact with him. He's been a great mentor for me. But yes, I train my own 2 litters now. I'm at Tina and Dennis's. So Tina is Rose Gill's sister, and it's only about 30 seconds down the road. So I'm lucky enough I live here on the property, and I rent my own kennels and have my own kennel block and train my dogs from here. Racing wise, I've got 2 litters. One's a My Redeemer litter and one's a Flying Ricardo litter. The Flying Ricardo litter is probably the better litter. Dogs such as Dash of Whiskey and Honey have both won in the city. Nacho Problem, he's a bit of a problem. He's a good dog as well, but just very injury prone, just little niggly injuries. My Redeemer litter, unfortunately one of the better ones in that litter sustained an injury where he wasn't able to race anymore, so he actually got adopted out to a home. I still get pictures of him. And his brother Enzo Envy, that is my baby. He is my favourite. He won at Sale a couple of starts ago, so that was pretty emotional for me. He broke his hock over a year ago, so that was his first win since breaking his hock. He had to have surgery and screws, and he had well over a year off racing. So it was just a really long process, one-on-one every day with him, doing rehab and physio and even like taking him swimming. So I think with that work that I did with him for that long, we sort of just got a really good bond, and he became super attached to me. Des Fagan is the one that done the surgery, so he sort of was there guiding me and was telling me what I need to carry on doing with him, what physio he needs, but also guidance from Dave, just asking him did he think that the dog was ready to trial, checking his hock for me to make sure that it was okay. But I mean, I did all the work myself, and the swimming part in that was additional. I just did that for him. You know, he was in the kennels bored, and I thought, well, I'll get him out and doing something, and I thought, well, swimming can't be too bad, and it was summer at the time, so I always got help from either Des Fagan or Michael Bell, and Dave is always just down the road for anything that I'm not sure of. And even now still, if I'm not sure of something, Dave will come down and check a dog, or I'll take a dog down there and he'll check it for me. But I do most of the checking myself, so it's massive. It's tiring, and it is a lot of work. Anyone in the industry knows it doesn't matter if you've got 10 dogs or 30 dogs or more. It's hard. I sit down every night and do paperwork and nominations. I do all of that, and I do all the driving to the tracks. I'm really lucky in that my dad helps me when I need it. So if I'm like tonight, I'm racing at the Meadows, he'll make up the meals, feed them, and do the let-outs for me. But other than that, I do all the background work, the nominations, and the training side of things, trialling, all of that. It's hard. Actually, this week's pretty full on. I'm racing every single day of the week this week. So yeah, look, it's a lot of travel. So I just got to make sure that I'm getting decent rest in between. Sometimes that means an afternoon nap when I can, but yeah, look, it is a lot of work, but I don't see it as a job. Like, it's something that I love, and to be honest, it's almost like it really is just a hobby, and it doesn't matter. One thing I've always found is it doesn't matter how tired I am in the mornings when I go out to the kennels, or even upset over something. You open that door up and they all get up and they're wagging their tails and happy, and it puts a smile on my face every morning, and I know that what I'm doing is I should be doing it, and I can't see myself doing anything else now. The dogs, they just melt my heart when I see them. So. But yeah, look, my biggest mentor in the industry so far would be Dave Gill, and that's because I spent the most time there. And again, a smaller operation, a lot of one-on-one time, and he's the one that spent the most time showing me how to check dogs, and he'd go through it with me all the time. Yep, I'll get you to check this dog. Yep, can you check this dog? And he'd make sure that he knew that I was confident doing it. Even now has just been my guide through learning how to train. Anything I'm not sure of, he'll happily answer. So yeah, Dave probably is and was my biggest mentor. Learning how to manage the dogs, keep them as stress-free as possible, and understanding what sort of fitness requirements they need to go through daily to be able to perform on the track. That's probably the the best thing I learnt from there. A goal of mine is to win the Melbourne Cup. It would be nice to be able to do it with something that I've bred myself. That is probably my biggest goal. Just to make any group finals and be a part of a group final is certainly amazing. I actually did have a dog, Dash of Whiskey, who was in the Horsham Cup final last year. Unfortunately, he stumbled at the start, and when you do that in a group final, it's very hard to win from there. So yeah, look, it was amazing, and I really hope that I can get another dog in a group final shortly.